quite the fanciful claim emerged on Twitter on Wednesday. Former Florida State data analyst Rebekah Jones said her son had been kidnapped by Governor Ron DeSantis, arrested on false pretenses over nothing more than sharing memes. Her family targeted for political vengeance by a fascist because that bass turd wants to be president, spelled in a way that's hard to tell if it's supposed to be a terrible bathroom joke or just an unfortunate typo. But of course, this claim on its face gets downed by default, not just for its boldness, but for its source. A woman whose specialty is lies and cringe. If you're thinking, who is Rebekah Jones? Well, recall during her Florida Department of Health tenure, she accused the department and Ron DeSantis of altering COVID death data to make themselves look good. She was fired for refusing to manage and present the data as instructed. An inspector general's investigation found no substance to her claims, and months after her firing, she illegally accessed and downloaded information from the state's data system. She was arrested at her home and in December pleaded guilty to a felony. But considering the harshest piece of her punishment was just a $20,000 fine, and she cashed in on GoFundMe sympathy to over $500,000 on multiple fundraisers in the meantime, the lies and deception were very personally profitable. And so automatically one wonders if this new claim is indeed political retribution or if it's just a repeat marketing strategy. Either way, local media bought Rebekah Jones's news story entirely and immediately. On Thursday, the Miami Herald reported that Rebekah Jones's 13-year-old son was arrested over memes after her whistleblower clash with Ron DeSantis. Well, I am very glad to hear about how meme crimes and political prosecutions are suddenly very bad again after a few weeks of their outright celebration, but that point was quickly moot anyway, because by day's end, the Miami Herald had already changed its headline. Oh, did we say arrested over memes? Because we meant arrested in a probe of threatening internet posts. See, it turns out another publication, the Pensacola News-Journal, actually did the hard work of getting the court documents to see what this arrest was all about, rather than just taking Rebekah Jones's tweet for it. It is true that there were memes involved, memes that her son had sent to other students that referenced a possible desire to commit a school shooting, but the arrest wasn't just about memes. It was about explicit statements. Per the arrest warrant, Jones's son said to friends, quote, "I want to shoot up the school." Also, quote, "If I get a gun, I'm gonna shoot up Holly Navarre Middle School, lol." Also, quote, "It's been like 3 or 4 weeks since I got my new antidepressants and they aren't working, so why not kill the losers at school?" He also told one friend he planned to shoot up the school the Thursday before spring break, but there were too many things going on, so he postponed until after March. Now, I know my meme expertise is fading as I get older, so maybe it's just me, but I haven't seen the memes about planning to shoot up a specific middle school in Florida, so I guess those must get shared around the offices at the Miami Herald a lot more than they get shared with me. Either that or Rebekah Jones deliberately omitted the most important details of her son's arrest. Or perhaps there was just confusion, if you want to be generous. After all, her son was just aggressively arrested, she said. Even worse, kidnapped. So maybe in the chaos of the moment, she didn't get all of the relevant information, and so she had a misunderstanding about why her son was taken in. Very unlikely, though, because there was no kidnapping, not just because a lawful arrest is not kidnapping, but because police didn't take her son at all. Rebekah Jones did herself. Here is the surveillance video of them arriving at the sheriff's office on Wednesday afternoon, with Jones voluntarily surrendering her son to arrest. On a Zoom meeting with a judge, he was scheduled for a May 3rd arraignment date and assigned to home detention with an ankle monitor, no gun access, and no internet access beyond what's necessary for school. All of this after police called Jones to inform her of the details of the arrest warrant, assuredly including the nature of the threats made. And by the way, Jones's first tweet claiming a kidnapping and a meme arrest was posted at 8:42 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night, hours after walking her son into the sheriff's office. This wasn't posted in the midst of some chaos. She made this claim hours after having the full information. So it obviously was not an arrest over memes, insofar as there were specific threats. It obviously was not a kidnapping, insofar as Jones brought her son in herself. And it obviously was not on DeSantis' order either, insofar as he had no involvement. In fact, the investigation was prompted by tips from students. DeSantis had nothing to do with it, unless we want to argue that these students were DeSantis political operatives without any evidence to say so. So it would appear that Jones was informed of her son's misbehavior, and rather than keeping that information in-house for the discipline it deserves, indeed, it never would have been publicly disclosed otherwise because her son is a minor, she decided to morph it into further victimization to malign her political opponents and, of course, to promote her GoFundMe grift once again. Destroying your kid's life for a few $1,000s, in other words, even more shameful than the deceiving and defrauding of the public for which she was previously known. But if you ask Rebekah Jones, it's actually you who's got it all wrong, not her. You have bad information. See, it actually was a meme arrest because it wasn't her son who sent those specific threats. Somebody else did. In fact, she says the redacted version of the warrant that police released didn't show that the threatening messages were sent by a different Snapchat account than the one Jones's son used to send the memes, as though it's impossible for one user to use multiple accounts, or as though investigators hadn't considered how the use of multiple account names could possibly be. From the warrant, quote, "It should be noted that Snapchat uses a name to ID the account to other people, which is different from the actual username. In this case, her son's account ID is JJ the Alcoholic," I guess he learned to spell from his mom, "and his actual username is Gabe Itch 22861. Gabe Itch, get it? Gay bitch? Not to be confused with his mom's account, Lying Bitch. Anyway, per the warrant, yes, her son Jackson is the gay bitch, and the gay bitch sent these explicitly threatening messages about shooting up the school. And if you're not satisfied with the explanation of one lie with another lie, well, don't worry, Jones has plenty more lies still. Within just a 7-hour time frame, she said, "Yes, I turned my son in because there was a warrant out for his arrest, but also I did not turn him in, and you should stop getting your information from Twitter trolls." She says she has video of the police handcuffing her son at her home and refusing to allow her son his necessary medication. And as for how this could possibly be, given the video of her surrendering her son at the sheriff's office herself, she says the cuffing was actually a different incident on a different day prior, which she never brought up for some reason until now, on the day of her peaceful, voluntary, not at all kidnappy surrender. Regardless, she has the video, and here it is posted to her Twitter account on Friday morning. Her son being cuffed for transport at the police facility, clearly not at her house, but by a woman who appears to be the same one who processed him upon surrender in the first place. Now, even if you want to dispute the necessity of the handcuffs, this is still not at all what Jones previously described, which was a cuffing upon arrest at home and a denial of medication. And of course, don't forget her greatest lie of all. In February, she tweeted, "I'm leaving Florida, and if you have kids, you should too." Called on that one, she says, "Dang it, I should have left Florida sooner." Obviously so. I'm sure the kids and parents at this middle school agree. But yes, please, once this is all resolved, move elsewhere and show us all how threats to shoot up the school in other states are just brushed aside and disregarded by their non-vengeful governors. Everybody knows you have to be trans to get that type of treatment, though we probably shouldn't give her any ideas, because if it means a few extra GoFundMe bucks, I'm sure she probably will grab the X-Acto knife and sacrifice her son on the altar of inclusion. This is a woman who has had 3 jobs in her field, and all 3 have ended not just in her firing, but in criminal charges. Here are the 3 mugshots to prove it. She was fired from Louisiana State University and then arrested for trespassing on campus and attempting to steal computer equipment. She lectured at Florida State University and was fired after her former student ex-boyfriend accused her of sexual cyber harassment. She published a 68-page document online disclosing private details of their relationship, including explicit texts and nude photos. This after a sexual relationship in the classroom while, yes, she was married. The reason she was fired was she threatened to give the guy's roommate a failing grade as revenge, and making it all the more awkward, whoopsie, they had a daughter together in 2018. So sorry, little Sally, about all your dad's dick pics that I posted all over the internet after cheating on your brother's dad. It sounds like that poor little girl is going to get bullied at school too. How this lady got hired as a data analyst for the state of Florida, I have no idea. If there is actually anything for which DeSantis must answer in this story, it's that, though. In fairness, she was actually hired a few months before DeSantis' 2018 election win. And then, of course, she was most famously fired from that job too, and then, as mentioned, she pleaded guilty to a felony for breaching data after the fact. And despite all that dishonesty and even criminality and somehow getting repeatedly rehired anyway, I will bet almost certainly that her biggest paycheck in all of it is the deception itself. It's a career of professional misconduct transformed into riches by convincing people that she's a victim for it, with many in media assisting so happily that I wonder if they're actually getting a kickback themselves. Frankly, it's so blatant that I almost blame us more than her at this point. If this lady can raise a kid who threatens to shoot up the school and then get us to pay for that delinquency so that she can take him to Disney World or maybe Disneyland since she wants to get out of Florida, that actually takes some skill and strategy to achieve, which is a lot more than I can say for the rest of us who actually donate to this nonsense. These people have none. And yeah, it's better to be morally square than strategically degenerate, granted, but if you're bankrolling a would-be school shooter's mom just because you like her politics, no matter how many times she lies over and over again, you have neither. That's the worst of both. Actually, that's gullible evil. That's not even crafty evil, but maybe I'm the bigger idiot for failing to recognize an easy opportunity for career advancement when I see one. So fine, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. I am announcing that I discovered a threatening message in my toddler son's cereal this morning. Clearly the fascists have done this to frame him as some sort of violent threat. No one should have to live in fear like this, so please send cash assistance immediately, and God bless. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Gab. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chatting my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.